Hi everyone. Uh, nice to see you. So my name is Nicolas Brousse. I'm a senior director of operation engineering at Tumogol, which is a Silicon Valley-based company. I'm also here on behalf of Tech for Ukraine, which is a coalition of tech CEO in the Silicon Valley that has been doing some fundraising in the past couple of months to allow 70 startups, I believe, to come to this conference. So about Tumogol, it's a company that has been founded in 2006, 2007, something like that. I joined it in 2008. And last July, we went IPO. So we went through all this exciting stuff about going to the NASDAQ and Times Square in New York and all this startup-y experience. And what I want to talk today, it's more about like all this journey, what we went through and how we went to a 7-people company to a big IPO company over this 7 years. So, all right, the first thing, definitely be passionate. That seems really obvious, that's the easy one, but no matter what you do to design your product, to find your market, you will hit many roadblocks. Nothing will be easy, and there is no way you can accomplish the result you want without being passionate. In Jeff Bezos' words, if you don't know, Jeff Bezos is a creator of Amazon.com, which was called, I think, Cadabra initially, something like that. Anyway, as an entrepreneur, if you are going to build a company, pick something you think is interesting that has intersection with genuinely creating real customer value, and just stay right there and let the wave catch you. Why do I quote Jeff Bezos? It's fairly simple. Most of the business Tumogol did has been driven by the main concern of creating customer value. That's how we end up today. We started being a video delivery platform, went through some video analytics solution, to end up today being an enterprise software company for digital branding. What it means is basically if you go on YouTube and see some video ad that you like, it's probably because of us. If you don't like it, it's your competitor. But that's what we are building. And we came to that not because we know we are like a big vision, like we need to build it. It took 7 years to get there. And that was because of this passion of delivering a real value to the customer. So how does it work? Just quickly on that, so you understand the product. A brand, an agency can use your software solution to plan their campaign, on which one, based on the plan, we can buy for them programmatically on a bunch of inventory. We will measure the result of this campaign, and we'll be able to optimize dynamically all those campaigns. So just this process, I will go in detail a bit further later, but it does involve like a lot of different technology. It may seem really obvious, it's like a UI, you do your things and it works. The thing that it does involve a lot of different partner, website, machine learning, and things like that. And at the end, once you optimize for the customer and represent the result, the customer can choose to revisit his plan and adjust his goals. So I was telling that there is a lot of integration, a lot of people involved in this market. This is definitely one of the challenges. There is a lot of different integration, different technologies, different like standards. We go from you need to know like you need to have a dictionary of acronym to work in the ad industry. There is VPaid, VAST, all the SSP, so the supply side platform, all the publisher, all the ad networks. We have like DMP partners that allow us to get some data about people and allow us to do like targeting and things like that. So there is a lot going on behind the scene. And TwoMogul is really here to simplify all this chain and allow the brand to manage their campaign efficiently. So that's pretty much the same. We automate all the buying and give access to a pre-roll advertisement like on what you can find on YouTube. You have access to mobile platform, to social videos, to connected TV, which is a big trend right now, some display and things like that. So we are working with all those people and many more. But at the end, because there is so many complexity, you have to stay pragmatic. And after the passion, you have to be pragmatic on the way you implement a solution. That's another one that sounds obvious, but when you are caught in the startup life, you think about what you want to build, and you can easily lose track of your focus and your goal, and you can easily try to over-engineer or complicate things, where sometimes like a simple solution may work better. This will come from our co-founder. So it's Brett and John you see here. They went to Cal, so it's Berkeley, the University of Berkeley, to do their MBA. And because they were close to the Silicon Valley, they could have chosen to build a company close to Facebook or Google or whoever was there and spend a lot of money on really fancy offices and all those things, or move us like to San Francisco. Instead of doing that, because they were really passionate by their history, all the of the history of their MBA and how they went to this idea of building TwoMogul, they wanted to stay close to Berkeley and build a real identity. But they were also really pragmatic. There was no reason for them to spend like thousands of dollars they didn't have yet to have a company like in Silicon Valley, per se. So they keep their company in Emeryville. It's when I started to join the company. And on the Silicon Valley notes, I will quote Paul Graham. If you don't know, Paul Graham is one of the biggest VC right now for seed funding in the Silicon Valley. He managed the Y Combinator seed funding. I think it was at the PyCon 2012. He was saying about Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a curious thing. It doesn't have an architectural center. There is no forum that is the center of Silicon Valley. The center of Silicon Valley moves around. It is wherever there is, at this moment, the greatest concentration of people who are going to make the next generation of stuff. I really encourage you to watch this video. It's about like 45 minutes. He has plenty of idea about startups and next product and things like that. But just this quote is amazing because, and he also does a really funny joke, I think, in the video, but he always to say right now that this is right now the center of Silicon Valley. And I can say that also because on behalf of Tech for Ukraine, we were able to get like 70 startups to come here today and try to help them to accomplish their business dream, if I say. So that's not enough, and one of the important things is that once you have the passion, you are being pragmatic, you try to build your product, you still have to iterate often. Without iteration, if you try to plan for what will be your product in 2 years, you will most likely fail, especially in engineering. You need to be able to learn quickly and apply this learning to your development and your work. One use case, this is a fairly simple one that dates from 2008, which I believe represents some of this passion, pragmatism, and iterate often. Amazon in 2008 was not as used as it is today. It was not as famous, but still we were willing to use it because we were not ready to pay like for real hardware for months and months and committing to that without like making sure the business needed it. We needed a solution where we can easily grow without worrying about like all the technical aspect of it. Like, oh, we need to add like 3 more hardware into 3 more servers like in 2 months. So the idea was to use this compute solution from AWS. We simply use like the API to start instances. On the instance where started, we push our code to the instance. We use some simple OpenSSH tunnel to our database on our data center. And after that, we were able to have our code running, crawl a bunch of partner API to collect data and metrics, populate that in the database, and once it was done, we shut down everything. This is fairly simple, but after almost 7 years, it's still running. And it's why it's really important to stay focused on what you want to do, because sometimes you don't need such a complicated system. You may just need like a simple script that will start, a simple cron that will start your server, do the job, and shut down everything. That said, after a couple of iterations, we had to go to some more complex systems. There was like this one that allowed us to collect and aggregate data. We had some other part of the system that needed to be like always on. It's how it ended up to some interesting war story where we lock ourselves out of the server or lose access to everything, or you start to learn how like Amazon can work or not work, especially if there is like hurricanes going on or power failure somewhere. You have to start to learn like what is a cloud and how you need to develop your application for the cloud. The high availability of Amazon will work only if you are ready to use it and be able to have your applications that move from one data center to another and things like that. On this fact, if you want to read more, there is a white paper from 2011 at the Usenix LISA conference in Boston that explains some of the challenge we went through. So what does it look like today? It's a lot of pieces. There is all the bidding platforms. There is all the console ad server solutions that we have. We have all the part of the systems that manage cookies and data, partner data information. So each of those are a critical function in the systems that allow us to do like this simple product I explained at the beginning. So you have like what is pretty much your version of the NASDAQ for advertisement. Real-time bidding is really about like having a publisher like YouTube that contact us and say like, hey, I have this user on this web page that is going to watch this video. Do you want to show an ad for how much? And you have like few milliseconds to reply. You have to say like, yeah, I want to show my ad at this price. And once you do that, the ad is displayed. You collect data. You want to make sure it has been seen. How much of the video has been seen? To make this decision of bidding, you need to make sure you have like the right information about the user. So it's where you have like all this cookie information. So that's high level of the system, but this can't happen if you don't pay your debt. And by that, I don't mean like financial debt. You probably need to pay this one, but I'm talking about technical debt. You can't get to a complex system or grow your application over time without paying your debt. After a couple of years, you will start to feel the pain. And that's a natural thing to have a technical debt. As you learn about your product, as you develop it, you will learn new paradigm, if I can say, and you will revisit the way you have been developing. At the time you develop, at the time you build your application, you do it with the current knowledge you have. After a couple of months, after a couple of years, you will learn a little bit more how the system should work, how the interaction really work, and what doesn't work. And based on that, you will be able to improve your system. And for that, I will quote Ward Cunningham, who coined the debt metaphor. Ward Cunningham, if you don't know, is basically he invented the wiki. He has developed the first wiki in 1994, something like that. His view of the debt metaphor is really to make an analogy with a financial system, where if you don't pay your debt over time, at one point you just have debt, and you can't even have enough resources to build anything. So you just pay your debt. In other words, the whole debt metaphor, let's say, the ability to pay back debt and make the debt metaphor work for your advantage depends upon your writing code that is clean enough to be able to refactor as you come to understand your problem. It's a 5-minute video. I really encourage you to watch it. It's really a good understanding on what is technical debt. And this means that with all those iteration by making sure we pay our debt and we really look at solving a problem, we have been able to have a platform that is today able to handle like really high traffic volume. And by high traffic volume, I mean like multiple billions of requests per day, small packets with a really low latency. This number is probably outdated. Most of our partners require that we have like a 80 millisecond latency that include also network round trip. On the browser, on third-party side, it allows us to handle like really high spike traffic that is hard to autoscale for advertisement. We are vulnerable to third-party latency. And it's something that we need to be in the 150 milliseconds response time, something like that. Same thing for the data collection. On the back end, we have a lot of technology involved that goes from MySQL to Vertica to Hadoop MapReduce to all those things, a lot of machine learning going on. We collect a lot of logs, try to understand what does it mean to be able to make our decision. So it does need to communicate efficiently to our bidding system that is a low latency database to be able to target efficiently. So that's where we ended up with. So to conclude, I will say be passionate, be pragmatic, iterate often, and pay your debt. This way I think you have like some basic key elements that will remind you like how you should build your business on your platform. And I really mean like technology aspect of the platform. If you stay focused, passionate on your iterate often, while you still pay your debt over time, you'll be able to have like a solution that will be strong enough to accomplish your dream, I guess. That's it. Thank you. Is there any question? No question about Tumogul, Tech for Ukraine, about being passionate? No? Everyone is passionate? Good. Thank you.